I know Charlotte aren't good, but is LaMelo individually playing at an all
Well, we
NBA
saw
level?
SGA make the All-Pro team, and they didn't make the playoffs in Oklahoma City. So
First,
it's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous to think that a guy who's third in the league in scoring at the league guard spot, even though it's positionless today, it's not ridiculous to think that a guy who's
I
third in
could
the
see
league in
it.
scoring, right? It's not ridiculous to think that he can make the All-Pro team.
LaMelo Ball is on a tear right now. I think it's fair to say he's on a tear right now. I want to show you guys how much of a tear he's really on. In his last 3 games, he has scored 35, 50, and 44 last night. These games in which he had 9, 10, and 7 assists respectively. Now the Hornets are 1 and 2 in these games, but LaMelo himself has been absolutely fantastic. And I bring this up to say a couple of days ago, Chill, you said you had issues with LaMelo's shot selection and how good of a shooter is he because he takes a lot of bad shots. I'm not going to say has 3 games changed your mind, but do Charlotte need LaMelo to play how he's playing to have any chance of winning, or do you think he should be less of a gunner? I guess gunner is the best term I can use for what he's doing.
So Mars, 4 of the last 5 games that they've played, he's averaging 31 shots a game. 4 of the last 5 games they played, and no big man in Mark Williams, so they don't have any paint presence. But with having Brandon Miller, who I watched them a couple of nights ago when they played Milwaukee, I think he went for 32. I've never been a fan of league guards that shoot that much. Never been, and that's why I was never a big fan of Russell Westbrook like that. I was never a fan of Tony Parker like that because I always felt like league guards, one of your primary jobs is to pass the ball, and when you shoot that much, you get other guys out of rhythm. Now, don't get me wrong. In order for quote unquote Charlotte to have a shot, then he has to play like this. But they're losing with him playing like this. So it's not like they're winning with him playing like this, where he's averaging, I don't know, 30, 35 a game or something like that. But they're losing with him doing this. So I do think that he has some players. I'm just not a fan of guys, especially league guards in particular, who shoot that much, because you throw your guys out of rhythm, and it really stalls the offense. I watched them play Milwaukee a couple of nights ago. Jay, when I tell you 5 straight trips he shot the ball, 5 straight. I mean, I can't get into a rhythm as an off guard. I can't get into a rhythm as a post player or a wing. Whether we're in transition doesn't make a difference if my lead guard is shooting the ball that many times. And when you shoot that much, I feel like I don't feel like you give other guys an opportunity, and I feel like you don't give your team an opportunity to win. Now, don't get me wrong. We're in a space right now with LaMelo Ball that he's still trying to prove that he's one of the better guards in the game. He is. And I think he's still learning the point guard position because he's still young and injuries have slowed him down. But with that being said, I'm just not a fan of guys who shoot that much at the league guard spot. I'm not.
And when I look at LaMelo Ball, it is a little concerning when we look at how many shots he is taking. But I do think LaMelo Ball is one of the more dynamic scorers in the NBA. You could say that he needs to put a little bit more rim pressure on the rim. I could understand where you're coming from, where he needs to pass the ball a little bit more. Some of his shot selection is questionable. And I think that could get kind of rectified once he gets his bigs back. You'll have more of a paint presence down there, somebody that can be a pick and roll threat, or somebody you can dump the ball off down to finish around the rim. But I think you said it best. I mean, the last 5 games, he's averaging about 35 on 43, 34 splits on 13 3-pointers a game. I think eventually it's going to go down, like just with the coaching aspect and him developing a little bit more. But we can't say that we didn't think this was coming based off how he played before. Like, I think all the shots he was taking, he was enabled with all the shots he was taking in high school and overseas. So we can't say that this is something that's surprising us, because this was how he was the second he came into the league. It just takes the right coach to really teach that point guard and passing and being an offensive engine outlet to him.
Now, Mars, remember, we literally just had this conversation yesterday about letting go of what was, right? We literally just had this conversation of letting go of what was, which I feel like I'm doing that, but I can still recognize that when you have a job to do, even if your job has changed, and we're playing basketball, right? We're playing basketball. If you are the primary ball handler, your job isn't to shoot all the shots. No, that's not your job. and I think he's averaging 22 or 23 shots a game. And the next guy after him is averaging, I think, a little over 10. So when your lead guard is averaging double the shots that the next guy is averaging, that tells me that you're not getting anybody else involved. And I feel like as a lead guard, that's part of your job. It's not just to get the ball and go and score every trip. No, that's not your job. Mm-mm.
Yeah, he's shooting 24.5 shots a game. So
Unbelievable.
He's getting them up. But I think with LaMelo, what I find, I guess, fascinating is that if you go back, and he was like a superstar before he even entered the NBA, you go back and you watch him in high school, he's the same guy. Like in terms of how he plays, the confidence, the shot selection, the belief he can make any shot. Like he's just brought that same confidence and everything that made him so dynamic and special in high school. And he's just doing it in the NBA. Now, there's stuff to be said about, does that make his game immature? Does that mean that he probably still needs to develop in some areas in terms of how he sees the game? Sure. But I also think I think it's just really cool that you got someone who is able to play with that level of freedom in the NBA and is able to, for all intents and purposes, dominate doing so. Now, Charlotte aren't a good team, and I don't think Charlotte would be a good team if LaMelo was the best playmaker of all time. I just don't think they're very good. But I think he's making Charlotte a very entertaining team to watch.
Yes, they are.
I think people are watching Charlotte mainly just for LaMelo and Brandon Miller. Everything else is extra at this point. Mark Williams, hopefully he's back soon. I think he just got sent down to the G League. But I think LaMelo's been. I think LaMelo's been.
The word you just used, Mars, entertaining. That's what he is.
Yeah, I think LaMelo's been, but I think he's been about as good as I could hope for with his skill set. I think the aggressiveness as a scorer is great. I think, like I said a couple of days ago, I think he's a really good shooter, really, really good shooter. I think he's getting to the rim more, which is great to see because that was one of my concerns with him and how much he settled for like those floaters and stuff. But I think he's getting to the rim more, which is I think very valuable for him and his team.
Miles, when you say good shooter, when you say good shooter, I want to make sure that I'm understanding you because when I think about a good shooter, I think shot selection is involved in that. I think the fact that you can shoot, I think that helps. But you can be a good shooter but take bad shots, and I think that can affect you being a good shooter because I think that with you having a bad shot selection, it can affect your overall shot. So with LaMelo Ball being a good shooter, I just want to make sure I'm understanding you, Mars. You say he's a good shooter. The fact that his shot selection is questionable, does that matter to you?
I mean, I think it's part of it, but I think this is gonna go back to my issue with guys like Luke Kennard. Like, if you only take the cleanest looks, like I think there's a certain ceiling on how valuable that shooting is. When you got a guy like LaMelo, who teams understand he's a threat, and then all it takes is a sliver of daylight for him to be able to get his shot off because his release is so quick, and he doesn't jump, so like he can just get it off in any position, leaning right, leaning left, step backs, like however he wants to get a shot off 1 foot. Like he can shoot in any way. So there's not really a defense for how he can shoot the ball, which I think is extremely valuable. And then you just look at like his efficiency, and like I'm gonna use EFG because I mean you don't really need true shooting when we're just talking about jump shots. Like he has an EFG of 62% on step back jumpers. That's ridiculous. Like that's extremely efficient. Mainly because most of his step back jumpers are threes, but that's extremely efficient. Or like just on pull-ups in general, 56% EFG. Like that's really, really good. So like off the dribble, he's one of the best shooters in the league on extremely high volume. Then you look at his degree of difficulty. I think all of those factors make him a great shooter. Now the issue is like damn near every year of his career, his shot quality has been like some of the worst in the league. And that comes down
that's
to
where the divide is, Moss.
That comes down to shot selection. Some of it's just how teams guard him because of how they view his teammates, all of those things. And I can understand that being a concern. But like most great shooters, like the elite shooters, Steph, James Harden, Damian Lillard, Trae Young, like their shot quality is usually near the bottom of the league too. So I don't know how much I can be like, that's a problem, especially when he's pretty efficient as a shooter. Now he's not Steph Curry, but he's pretty efficient as a shooter.
But that's what I'm saying, Moss. And to your point, you just talked about guys like Steph Curry. You talked about like guys like Damian Lillard. Well, that's where the divide is, Moss, because what a good shot is for Damian Lillard is not a good shot for everybody else. What a good shot is for Steph Curry is not a good shot for a lot of the other guards in the game because they can make those shots. And other guards see that and think that they can do that in their game, only except it's not. Now, to your point, when you talk about LaMelo Ball being one of the better step back shooters, well, I think he could use that to his advantage more in other areas. One, he's 6'8". That's number one. He's 6'8". Number two, he's really good with the ball and he can create space. So I think that he can get better shots. I'm not saying that his shot selection should always be this way. I think that if he can get better shots, I think he can be more efficient. I think a lot of times because he's on the unit that he's on and he's basically just turned loose, that they just let him shoot whatever shots he wants, which suggests to me that I don't think LaMelo really knows where he is as a ball player yet.
Ox, you know where we are in the conversation right now?
Yeah, I heard y'all talking about LaMelo.
Yeah.
Had some graphics.
Turn your mic up a little bit, Ox.
Yeah, I had some graphics on that. Mars, I see you got some queued up in the back. You want to pull that up, or you?
Yeah, this is pertaining to kind of what we're talking about. I think this is a bit outdated. I think LaMelo's averaging 31 now, but the point still stands. When you look at the scoring leaders in the NBA, LaMelo is very well and firmly in the top 5. In fact, I believe he's number 2 right now, just solely behind Giannis, who is also on a tear right now. And I think we should talk about Giannis at some point in this episode. But is this sustainable? LaMelo being one of the 5 best, highest volume scorers in the NBA, will he be in the top 5 come the end of the season?
I don't think he's gonna stay at 30. I think towards the end of the season, it may be 25 to 27 range, because you do have to worry about the shot selection, because after a while they're going to start missing. At least in my opinion, I think after a while he's going to go through a cold streak to where he may not be able to sustain 30, but I could see 25 to 27 by the end of the season.
So with that, just because if LaMelo is shooting 24 shots a game, are we saying? Because I don't see his shot attempts going down, personally. I don't see those going down. So do you think LaMelo's just going to end up shooting 39% from the field this season to go down to 25 points? Because that's the only feasible way in which I see it happening.
Yeah.
I don't know, John D. I could see LaMelo easily staying here, if not going up.
Is there any
if you look at it like that, based on 24, 25 shots a game, because you do have a point. They're not, I don't think they're going to go down either. Why would they? Who's going to take those shots?
That's what I was about to say. Why would they?
It's not like Mark Williams coming back is going to be there's an extra 15 shots. Mark Williams is a roller. That's not going to change too much for him.
Yeah. No. You can see LaMelo being the type, because like you were talking about a little earlier, Mars. He's been like this since we found out who LaMelo was. You know what I'm saying? He's there to score the basketball, and I think he's the type of hooper that when he sees how many points he's scoring and he sees I'm leading the league, I think he's the type where he's like, you know what? I want to be the lead scorer. I want to try to break some records or something. You know what I'm saying? So I could see him. And the only way he's gonna stop is if Coach Lee benches him again, like he did that one game, which I don't see that being something that he really goes to. I could easily see LaMelo leading the NBA in scoring this year.
He's close to it.
I don't think it's ridiculous to think that. Nope, I don't. Yeah, considering who LaMelo is, and to the point of what Mars was talking about in terms of him being entertaining, the only reason why the people come out in Charlotte is because of him. They should come out more because of Brandon Miller. I mean, because Brandon Miller is exciting too. He's one of the better wing players, not just on their team, but in the league. And they also got Bridges who can play. But the dynamic point guard they got, the shot selector, the guy that's shooting one-legged threes, that's the entertainment value. So he's the main reason why he's the guy on the moniker. He's the reason why people are coming to see him. Now, is it effective for winning? I mean, am I asking too much? Am I asking too much right now? Probably, but as of right now, this is who he is. He a bucket getter. That's who LaMelo Ball is. He's definitely a bucket getter. Now the question is can he hold up? Can he stay healthy? Because I can tell you right now, if you're looking at this unit, the shot selection, and the shot attempts are not going to go down. In fact, we're going to have more nights, Ox, where 40-point games, 45-point games, that shot selection is going to go up. And the shot attempts are gonna go up.
Speaking of which, did we talk about this? How he is the second fastest player? Can y'all see that? Second fastest player to make 600 career 3-pointers.
I
You know,
mean,
like, he's getting them.
he's only 23. Like, and this is what I mean when I say, like, not to diminish what Steph is doing. I'm not saying LaMelo's going to catch him, but just with how the 3-point shot has come around and how much people are shooting him, LaMelo is not in the same stratosphere as Steph, but he's made 600 threes in 200 games. Like,
200, it's crazy.
200 on 1, but like, so all he really has to do is hopefully stay healthy, have a long career, and he's gonna crack 3,000 just off the merit of he got them up early. Like, that's the concern I have, I guess, with how long Steph's record is going to stay around.
You said 600 threes in 200 games. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
201 games. Duncan Robinson did it in 184.
Ox, that's about 2.5 seasons. What the hell are we doing?
But chill. Did you see this shot right here? Did y'all see this shot?
What shot?
Oh, where he got bumped and just threw. Oh, you're talking about the misdirection.
No, I thought this was the other one.
I thought it was going to maybe.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Morris?
The one where like he hit the step back, then he hit like the misdirection one-legged three. Is that the
he was at the top of the key? He was at the top of the key. I was unfortunately, guys. I'd like to, and if you're watching League Pass, I'd like to thank you very much for blacking out the game, even though I don't live that close to Orlando. Thank you very much, League Pass. So I wasn't able to watch the game. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I had to catch the highlights of the game.
So crazy.
I didn't get to watch the game, but thank you very much, League Pass. I appreciate you, even though I don't live close to Orlando.
I got it right here.
People wonder why the NBA losing viewers. That's so ridiculous.
I don't get it.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I got you.
Unbelievable.
Right here,
I don't get that, man.
So this is showing his last 3 games. He's on an absolute tear right now.
Yeah.
I mean, 44, 9 and 7, 55 and 10, 35, 6 and 9 assists. I mean, against the
I was gonna say that was 44 of his team's 84 points.
Right. That's
so
insane.
Like, he was doing his best.
And this is the shot I was talking about right here.
He got bumped. What is that?
That's filthy. That's just filthy.
What is that? What the hell? And again,
he's a really good shooter. That's what I'm saying. He's a really good shooter. Like, not many people can make those type of shots that he's making, and he makes them. I'm not gonna say he makes them with consistency. Like, it's very rare he's shooting misdirections and one-legged threes, but like just the shooting off the bounce, shooting off the dribble, the step backs, creating separation. Like, that's every game with him. Like, he's gonna have games where he goes like 1 for 8, 1 for 9, but every shooter does. But just in general, like, that's how good of a shooter he is, and it's not surprising because he's always been able to make tough shots, but him being able to upgrade the efficiency was very impressive because I remember pre-draft, I was a practitioner of I thought LaMelo should have gone number 1. I thought he was the better prospect than Ant. But the concern with LaMelo was he shot 25% from 3 in Australia. Like, so you could see he could make shots, but it was extremely inefficient. But him being able to get up to 36, 37% on high volume, like, that's where I think you maximize LaMelo's potential. Now, I'm not going to say I'm right about taking him number 1 over Ant because Ant has been great. But this was like, I guess, what people thought the fully realized version of LaMelo could be. Maybe with like a bit more assists, but Charlotte are trash. So I don't know how much we can really hold that against him. But is LaMelo, I mean, I think it's guaranteed he's going to be an all-star at this trajectory.
Yeah, he's starting. If the All-Star game was next Sunday, he'd be starting in the All-Star game. I think he's starting.
Him and D Mitch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone I'm missing. Yeah. But is he playing at an all NBA level? I know Charlotte aren't good, but is LaMelo individually playing at an all NBA?
Well, we saw SGA make the All-Pro team and they didn't make the playoffs in Oklahoma City. So it's not ridiculous to think that a guy who's 3rd in the league in scoring at the league guard spot, even though it's positionless today, it's not ridiculous to think that a guy who's 3rd in the league in scoring. It's not ridiculous to think that he can make the All-Pro team. That's not ridiculous.
How long is he going to be in Charlotte? Is he going to be there for a long time?
He's not going nowhere.
He signed his extension, I want to say last off season. So I think he's tied down.
3 more?
I think he's tied down till 2028, I think.
So did 3 more?
But you know, these guys can ask out on the last year of that deal or whatever. He's tied down till 2029.
So that's 5 more years.
So yeah, he's tied down for this season and then 4 more after that. But you know, stars can request a trade. But at the earliest, it seems like he's going to be there till like 2028.
What do you think? What do you think Charlotte needs most? Like, if they continue this trajectory, miss the play-in, what do you think they need most?
I think they need to rein in their lead guard, and that's what they need to. Jay, we're not going to win with my lead guard shooting the ball between 30 and 35 times a game. We're not. So what we got to do is we got to put better pieces around him. Okay, we got Brandon Miller. We have to go get a 2 guard. I feel like we got to go get another 2 guard. We got to figure out what the story is with Mark Williams. What's the plan with Mark Williams? Because as big of a Mark Williams fan
is on the board.
As big a Mark Williams fan as I am, right? As big a Mark Williams fan as I am, if he's not available, then we may have to move on from him. If he's not
available, are you talking about like what to do to make them like championship contenders?
No,
I think when we talk about like what is
rebuild.
Okay, cool. Because that's what I'm saying. Like some teams, when we talk about them, like when we talk about what do we got to do for this team, I think we should just talk about like what do we got to do to make them a competent team. Not
sure.
There's no,
Okay,
but real quick, y'all. I hate to. I'm sorry, I'm derailing the conversation. We'll get right back to this, but I got to play this quick ad just to keep this on your mind and remind y'all what's coming this Friday. Y'all go ahead and tune into this.
So let me argue with both of them. Go ahead and do it. So even though, listen. So even though last year in the fourth quarter. Am I arguing two people or one person? I'm trying to figure out how to work it. Hold on, real quick.
Stay right here. I saw Shaq in the fourth quarter against the defensive player of the year, Dikembe Mutombo, dominate him throughout that series.
How old was Dikembe Mutombo?
He was a high school player who we didn't know
when they went to the finals and won. What was Kobe? Was he an All-NBA level player?
When they went, he was an All-NBA level player. Yes, he was, and so was Jamal Murray.
No, he wasn't.
Hold on.
So LeBron says year 3 he's an All-NBA, right? And in year 22 he's All-NBA.
And that doesn't mean that he's still technology. That doesn't mean that he's still playing.
Why didn't Kareem do that? Why didn't Kareem do that?
No league has ever owned a team, and they were the owner of the team.
Why were they in that position in the first place?
The reason why they were in that position.
Administration.
The reason why they were in that position.
But Adam Silver would never do anything like that.
He absolutely
would never. LeBron James makes an appearance and you're irrelevant. What does that mean?
What do you mean?
What does that mean? Irrelevant. All of a sudden, I step on the court, you're irrelevant again.
And why is that?
Because I'm better than you.
That's not what you wasn't better than me throughout the season.
Y'all make sure not to miss that come Friday. Getting back to the LaMelo conversation, though, let me read this super chat from it's Amza. Melo is doing what people thought Poole was gonna do. How do y'all feel about that? Is this what y'all thought Jordan Poole was gonna do?
No. The people, yes. This is actually what people thought Jordan Poole was gonna do. Put up crazy scoring numbers on a bad team, but look at Jordan Poole. This is really what.
Yeah,
I want to make it clear when I was making those statements, I wasn't saying that like it was going to be a good thing from Jordan Poole. I wasn't saying it like I was agreeing with it. I've never been a fan of Jordan Poole, not for a day. But LaMelo is definitely doing that. Yo, Jordan, what's good? What's up, Chill?
I looked at it like he was getting the shackles taken off of him. Considering what he was doing in Golden State, he was a bucket getter. He's going to Washington. They were awful. They were going to give him the ball and just turn him loose. And he was going to be shooting 25 to 30 shots a game like Melo, and he's going to get buckets. Only except that went completely the other way.
I think one of the things that people were overlooking was Jordan Poole had like more of a leash in Golden State. Like if it wasn't looking good, we could just take him right out the game. In Washington last season, he kind of like had to play through those, and that's when it really got ugly. Like when the shot's not falling, when he has those low lights. It's not like he can just go straight to the bench. The Wizards are going to give him the minutes, so he had to play through those.
Who else they got, John? Who else did they have?
Like he was going to be on the floor,
Right.
Like, and that was the difference between there and Golden State. Golden State was like, he's not looking good. Let's pull him real quick. Let him get himself together, and then we'll put him back in the game. In Washington, he just had to play it out, and I don't think he was adjusted to that. I don't think he adjusted to that well. He's playing better this season, but I think that was the problem last year.
Ox, I want to, and right before we went to commercial break, I'm not one of these people that's an advocate of every time you build in a team to win a championship. Okay, well, wait a minute. There's steps to getting there. You don't immediately build a team to get to a championship team. And that's not what I'm thinking with Charlotte. I'm just thinking a team that's competitive, a team that is making a push toward the play-in. And then from the play-in, we're a legit playoff team. And then from a legit playoff team, we become a contender. And then from a contender, we become an Eastern Conference championship contender. Then the NBA championship contender. There's steps that you have to go through, as opposed to, yo, we're building a championship team here. No, they're not close. No. But I was just thinking more of a team that's going to compete in the East more than anything.
Well, they've made the play-in twice, so if anything, they've gone backwards from where they were 4 years ago.
Now think about why that was, Paul.
Health though.
Now, right. Think about why that was. I mean, when Gordon Hayward got hurt, before Gordon Hayward, I want to say 20. When did they get LaMelo Ball? 20?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got them. So I want to say 20. He made the All-Star team in 21. I think it was his second year.
Or was it 22? It was second or third year.
Right.
21, 22. It was the second year.
So he makes the All-Star team in 22. There's a stretch during that time where right before Gordon Hayward got hurt, they're 5th in the East. They're a top 5 seed. Gordon Hayward goes down, then they just are decimated by injury after that. So LaMelo Ball, I don't think it's ever been a question of whether or not he could play and whether or not he can play at a high level, because he made the All-Star team early on. I think he was a 20-8 guy the year he made the All-Star team. So I don't think there's ever been a question of whether or not he could play at that level. He could play at an All-Star level, and his team can compete. It's just that they've been decimated by injury more than anything.
It's the player choice way. That them boys don't get it started. The player choice way.